I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Believes Crypto Show. My name is Believes, and we're here to talk about this crazy crypto world. But first up, we're going to talk about this crazy NFL as the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams absolutely dominate, destroy, and annihilate the Washington Commanders 257 to -4. The Washington Commanders, the worst team in all of the NFL. Garbage, trash, 500 team. Bears are not a 500 team. Bears are better than a 500 team. All of this talk about Jaden Daniels, all of this time, and it turned out he was just a little biatch compared to Caleb the King Williams. So if you went to terracasino.io and you put money on the Chicago Bears, then you won super bigly today. And I said super bigly because it's Donald Trump's world and we're all just trying to find out how to grift the way he's grifting. You know what I mean? So with that being the case, make sure that you go to terraport.io or terraport.finance in order for all your utility and meme coins. We're going to talk about Luna Classic for just a moment in a few minutes. Now, let's talk about what's going on in the market. And we're going to start with the Kobayashi letter because there's a lot going on very quickly this morning. The S&P extends its losses to 1.5% on the day as investors react to bank earnings and ongoing trade tensions, with trade tensions being the number one motivator. But how will we generate enough energy to power all of these AI deals? Now, for those of you that don't understand, OpenAI has made massive deals with a lot of different people. And don't forget that Grok is also, and Grok is my preferred over ChatGPT mechanism. So I use Grok instead. I am not a fan of Elon Musk, but I am a fan of Grok. So, just because I'm not a fan of the person that creates something doesn't mean that I can not separate from what was created. And I like Grok a little bit more than I like ChatGPT. Now, that being said, there are a lot of questions right now. The U.S. Department of Energy says that U.S. data centers will use 325,000 to 580,000 gigawatts of power per year by 2028. That's the power used by 40 million homes just on data centers. Okay. Currently, nuclear power is viewed as the only solution for the impending power shortage. The average nuclear power plants can produce 8,000 gigawatts per year. In other words, we would need 73 plants new to power these data centers. However, the U.S. has added 2 nuclear reactors since 1995, and it takes over 10 years to build one. Reaching the required energy output by 2028 seems close to impossible at our current rate. Something must change. What is it going to be? That's going to be the question. That's going to be the question on everybody's mind for the next couple of years as we start to figure out what's going on. Now, when we're talking about AI data centers, we're also talking about one of my pet projects that we've been talking about a little bit lately, and that is Tau, BitTensor, which is now breaking out to $455 last night. Retracing a little bit, you're going to see, I'm going to talk to you about what's going on in the market right now. This is not winter mute again, despite the fact that we are currently down about $200 billion, $176 billion, was as high as $200 billion just a little while ago. And I'll explain exactly what's going on right here. And by the way, this is not something that you should concern yourself. Okay. You're effing retarded if you think more nuclear power plants are good. I can't even sometimes. I can't even. As a matter of fact, There we go. Let's pop that up on the screen. Let me see if I got it here anywhere. Did I do that? Yeah, SMR right there. For those of you that don't know, this is NuScale. NuScale has found a way to make micro nuclear power plants. I talked to you about this, by the way, over a year ago when it was trading at $8. Okay. That was down here when we made this original breakout. And I said, it's going to go so much higher because it makes small nuclear facilities that generate those 8,000 gigawatts per hour, that it's able to do that at a relatively simple and easy price point. And you don't have to worry about 3 Mile Island disasters anymore because nuclear was not being run appropriately back in the 1970s. In the 1970s, in the 50 years since the 1970s, tremendous progress has been made in nuclear storage and handling. Now, you might say to yourself, yeah, but what about Fukushima? Because there was also that time in Fukushima where everything blew up and then the water came in and then everything happened and then the Fukushima melted down. What about that one? Okay, well, that's fair enough. Power plant that was built in the 1960s. Are we not seeing this? Are we not understanding? Do we not pay attention anymore? Do we just go back to say, one time back in the 50s, there was something bad that happened, and it must be the same way this time as well? That's retarded. That, you know what? I'm sorry. That is a child of Elon Musk. Is that better? Is going to be fine. It's going to be incredibly fine. Now, in the meantime, like I told you guys, this was at $8. It's now at $45. So more people agree with me than agree with anybody else about whether or not we're going to be using nuclear power. And by the way, NuScale does not take 10 years to get it done. Kobayashi just doesn't understand that NuScale exists at this point, which is a very interesting proposition. Now, back to this one. Energy generation, AI, BitTensor, it's all there, right? Now, let's just go over here and let's talk about crypto specifically. Risk appetite just broke another record. Total U.S. options volume reached a record 108 million contracts on Friday. This beats April's Liberation Day high, which means that what's happening right now is still an exciting period of time for cryptocurrency. What are we experiencing right now? This is a correction off of people who bought the dip. I'm going to show you the difference between what buying the dip meant Friday and what buying the dip means today. And matter of fact, let's go over and let's talk about that right now. Let's use Bitcoin as an example. For anybody who doesn't understand what happened on Friday, I actually had this broken down for you. And what I did was I put this up here, and there's the question that I asked, okay? On Friday, Donald Trump made some aggressive tweets about China, but the crypto market did not dump. Does anybody remember that? He made these comments and the market did not dump, okay? It was later discovered that Wintermute had orchestrated this on the Binance platform. Can you summarize what appears to have happened and then use that as a springboard to figure out what happened in the last few hours with crypto to cause the current dump? Now, let's break down exactly what happened. So we had Donald Trump put out a tweet that basically said that he was going to impose a 100% tariff on China. Everybody's freaking out, right? Now, despite the inflammatory tone, which typically triggers risk-off sentiment in volatile assets like crypto, the market reaction was initially muted. Bitcoin was around 122,000. This resilience is very different than what had happened before. People were tiring out of Donald Trump just randomly saying shit. And Taco, you guys remember Taco? Trump always chickens out. At this point, everybody knew that whatever Donald Trump said was not true. He just lies to you to make it seem like it's crazy. And now people understand that. And they understand that he's going to walk it back and pretend like he didn't say it. Just like when he said we should do something about the person who put Jerome Powell in office because that person was an absolute moron and idiot. And he blamed Joe Biden. And then the videos came out of Donald Trump nominating Jerome Powell. So we understand that he doesn't care. Honesty and integrity doesn't mean anything to you. You're not smart enough to understand what's going on. That's not me. That's Donald Trump. So later investigations and on-chain analysis revealed that Wintermute, a major crypto market maker, had moved, and now it's up, by the way. It was originally 705. It's now $1 billion in assets to Binance, including 400 million in Bitcoin, 600 million in the rest of it. Now, here's what happened. We're going to move this real quickly. This caused Bitcoin to plunge to 110,000. Solana down 15-30%. Altcoins and stuff down even more. However, the no dump perception stemmed from Wintermute's rapid reaccumulation. Now, what does that look like? I want you to look right here at this chart. Holy shit. Like, this is the crazy... This is Wintermute dumped completely. Everybody started to freak out just a little bit. And then the next thing you know, Wintermute starts buying things back up. And they're the ones that dumped. They're the ones that dumped. You can see what their holdings are by the fact that these candles were so aggressive and so big. They were not holding Solana, or they were holding a small amount of Solana. Chainlink, they were holding. XRP, they were holding a lot of XRP. Do you understand yet? I hope you understand now that Wintermute just dumped their holdings, sold off on the charts, grabbed as much liquidity as they could, and then they spent $1 billion to buy it back. Okay. Now, there were a lot of different reasons, but Wintermute's premeditated short on Binance turned a potential blip into an engineered flush. Now, in the last few hours, none of it is playing out the same way. So now we're looking at trade war escalation, leverage flush and whale shorts, macro overhang and fake news, and then manipulation. Okay, so that's what's going on right now. So how do I know that that's the case? Well, let's zoom out here and let's go back and let's look at Bitcoin. We're going to take a simple look at Bitcoin. What did we get right here? We got a move to the bottom. Then after we got the move to the bottom, which was right here, what did we get? Right there. So when we use a reverse Fibonacci, we got a move all the way down. We completed the move. Then after we completed the move, we had a dump. When we had the dump, we had this move down here. Then we had a move up here into exactly where I tell you, this is just in reverse, the 50 to 618 region, which is called the golden zone. And then what did we have? We had a retest of the 236. Now what's going to happen? Well, in reverse, what's going to happen is we're going to have a test of the 786, which means that 118,000 is coming very soon. This is what happens on these charts all the time. And we say this constantly. And you guys pretend like I'm not saying it constantly. That time it's going to be different. That time it's going to be different. You're not going to do what you're going to do because you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or whatever it is you say in your fucking head because it's okay. Now let's reverse this just on the off chance. Let's just reverse this. We're going to take this. We're going to close that out. Now let's use a reverse Fibonacci and let's see what's playing out right here on a normal move right there. And holy shit, do you see what's happening right now? From the move that we had from the bottom where we discovered a new bottom and then we moved back up to the top. What did we do? We rejected off of the top. We then came back down into the holy shit. Is that the golden zone? Why, yes. As a matter of fact, it is the golden zone. So where are we going to go after this? Well, in the short term, the answer to this move is most likely to the 236, which is 113, 114,000. Then we're going to find out whether or not we've got the strength to bounce up or down, which means a move down to 110,000 or 108,000 could be in the cards before springing back and then starting to break out. Now, let's do this real quick. On the Ichimoku cloud, in case you're wondering, then the breakout, the top of the cloud right now is going to be at about 116, 117,000. That's exactly where we were not that long ago. Now, this does mean that we're bearish on the 4 hour. Okay, we're bearish on the 4 hour. We broke down below. We needed this sort of move right now to kind of clear everybody out. But that cloud still kind of exists right there. So I'm going to tell you that in my estimation, we're probably looking at a move up into 120,000 in very, very short order. Now we're going to remove Ichimoku and we're going to go back to what our thesis is. We're going to test the 200 again very, very soon. That's 116,100. And then if we get some bullish confirmation, it's going to break above and we're going to see this move happen right here. And we're going to see a quick move back up there. And then we're going to see this continue on into this in this move. And it's going to look something like this right here because we're on our way to a new high. Now, we've gotten clarity on what happened in the market. Why is it not happening again? And the answer to that is very, very simple. We've gone from Wintermute controlling the market and doing this enormous dump to retail and institutions conducting normal business. What does normal business mean? It means for every pump, you have a commensurate dump into Fibonacci as new holders get added, as new levels get formed. The matter of fact, the level right here that we're bouncing off of, right there. So what you see right now is going to be a play back towards the upside. Now, let's clear this out just a little bit, because when we started this show just a few short moments ago, we were down $200 billion on the day. It's now down to $140 billion on the day, which means that suddenly we're starting to move back into the positive. Look at this. We got this wick right here on the 4 hour. And now we've got this little bit of a recovery happening. Now, will the recovery continue? I don't know the answer to that. It's going to take a few days. It does take a few days to recover and then find out whether or not we're going to break out higher. But I assure you, money flow tells me that we are going to break out so much higher. Now, if you look at this from one context here, maybe we're accelerating the pattern, because if we look at M2 money supply and we look at it on the daily, then we had that big spike right there. Maybe that spike is right there. And maybe this big dump that we're having right now is this dump, and it's all being sped up. And now we're about to reverse and go so much higher. Here's the thing to remember. We are still going so much higher. If we're at 4.27 trillion right here, and we're about to go so much higher, we're going to go to 4.5, 4.7 trillion on this next run. So nothing has changed. Anybody who's telling you that the bull market is over, anybody who's telling you that it's all done, they're what the French call a dumb fucking idiot. Okay. And I don't know any other way to put it, because they're stupid. Okay. They don't even understand what's going on in these markets, and they should not have they shouldn't have social media. Okay. These dum-dums shouldn't have social media. Your crypto rovers, those kind of people. Oh my God. Like, what are we retarded? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so, and yes, the answer is you should be buying right now. Matter of fact, you should be buying, because I already told you you should be buying. And when did I tell you should be buying? When it goes down to 30. So you should have accumulated the shit out of it on the 11th, which was that Saturday, or even that Sunday when it was still dipping kind of low. I mean, duh, like, I haven't changed anything. Between 30 and 70 is your play. If you dumped your Bitcoin back when it was 70, when it first became 70, which is, we had this, we were playing down here, September 26th. On September 26th, if you did what I said on September 26th, where are we at? September 26th was right here. This candle right here at 109,000. Okay, at 109,000. And what did I tell you? When it goes to 70, you're going to sell. So at 109,000, you just accumulated, because you listened to me, because you're not you listened, you paid attention, you understood the role, you understood what you were supposed to do, and you did it. Boom. Now, where are you at? 49, 50, 50, 70. When did we get the first 70 here? Right there on 10/4. So on 10/4, you then sold all of your Bitcoin, which was going to be on October 3rd, on October 4. On October 4, you sold at 122,500, which means that you made a bag of money. And now you're super excited. Did you get to the top of it? No, you did not. You did not get to the top, because you followed the rule. You followed the plan. You accumulate a little bit more. And then what happened? You made a nice little profit. Then you sold because it went to 70. And then you didn't decide, well, this time it's going to be different. This time I'm just going to hold on to it for the entire time, because I don't want to get liquidated, because then I won't be able to do exactly what we said. So you sold at 70, which I know you did, because you wouldn't be, because if you didn't, you're retarded. So if you didn't do that, then you came back here on the 11th and started to reaccumulate when it hit 27 again, which means that in the event that you had that opportunity, and then you came over here onto the 11th, you're getting back in at 112,000 when you sold at 122,500. That's called profit. Now you should be holding on to a big bag of Bitcoin at about 112,000 right now, and you should be waiting for it to go back up to a 70. Duh. So, no, you don't buy now. You buy a couple days ago when I told you to buy. Whew. So anyway, yeah, that happened. Anyway, so let's talk about right now the question of the day. What are the top altcoins to buy after the Black Swan event, after everything happened right here? And of course, I went to Grok because I want Grok to give me the idea of what this is. And it breaks down right here exactly what happened in the market, gave you kind of an idea. Number one altcoin to buy, Ethereum. And it says, as the DeFi and NFT backbone, Ethereum's upgrades and ETF inflows make it a safe bet for the next bull leg. It's already rebounding strongly post-crash. Number two is BNB, leading the recovery with massive Binance ecosystem utility and buybacks. Analysts highlight as a top dip buy for 50% upside in this tariff ease. So next up, you're going to get Solana, high-speed L1 with booming DeFi and meme activity. It's undervalued after the dump and poised for explosion in the upcoming altcoin season. Number four is going to be XRP, currently at 247. 247. Remember, I told you that your two accumulation periods for XRP the other day was a 270 right here and 248 right here. And guess what? You're sitting right there at 248. What are you supposed to do right now? You're supposed to buy the goddamn crypto. Buy yourself some XRP. Don't get caught flat-footed. I mean, come on. Chainlink, Oracle King for real-world data. Whales are piling in post-crash with strong DeFi ties with 100x potential in a bull run. I don't know about 100x, but yeah. Chainlink. Dogecoin, I'm going to dismiss Dogecoin right now. I think that it's going to have a nice run, but I don't think it's going to be the 100 billion. I think the Trump meme coin is going to be the best. We're not going to agree completely with this, by the way. Cardano is number 7 with sustainable L1 with smart contract growth. None of this matters for Cardano, guys. I want to be very, very clear here. I think anything that's saying buy Cardano is bullshit, but it's based on Charles Hoskinson being in the public eye, and he's a very vocal Bitcoin and crypto maxi that's out here right now fighting the good fight. So I do see that there is some possibility there. But again, I joke about Cardano most of the time. It's a fucking stable coin. So I don't think so. Stellar XLM cross-border payment rival to XRP, undervalued with fast recovery, ideal for global adoption narrative gains. Hyperliquid DeFi perp DEX leader with external bids and minimum unlocks, structurally resilient to leverage flushes. In number 10, BitTensor Tau, AI narrative frontrunner with Grayscale's ETF filing. BitTensor has its own ETF filing. Top watch list pick for explosive growth post clash. Now, why do I say that? And why do I agree with BitTensor Tau being that one? Guys, listen, I'm making the content for them right now. It's at $446. Look at what's happening right now on the chart. It is breaking out. If you guys are in, like I'm in, by the way, here's my holding right now. It's 3 something. I have like 3.5. I have like basically 3.5 or 3.1. By the way, I think it's actually 3.4 that I have. I don't know why this always says 3.1 when I load in. Like at one point it was just saying 2.87 no matter what I did every time. But I earn yield from each one of these for creating the content for BitTensor. So I'm going to keep accumulating this stuff. I'm going to keep accumulating because it's going absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? So the all-time high, by the way, 782. So when you look at it, by the way, BitTensor, 21 million coins are going to be minted all time. 10.7 million are currently in circulation, which means that it's only about halfway done with the minting process, less any that the team might have. I should say that. But it's a $4 billion market cap, $4.5 billion market cap, and the bull market hasn't even kicked off yet. So now you have to ask yourself, like, well, what does that mean ultimately? Well, ultimately, what it means is when you look at, it's at number 28 right now, it's down 2% on the year so far. Even though it's up in the 7 days, 28%, it's down on the year. What happens when it breaks out like the rest of these breakout, what happens when you get some real valuation out of the number one AI crypto right now? By the way, I do want to say that Fetch AI for me was that bitch. It is no longer that bitch. BitTensor Tau has now overtaken the AI narrative, and now it's up 1% because it's pumping again. So it's up 1% overall. What happens when it absolutely breaks out? What happens when it gets on that narrative right there and you get something like Meme Core where it does 3,500x or Aster where it does 1,500x? What if BitTensor, what if we're right? What if the narrative, and by the way, what if the energy use right here, what if they come up with a way to make energy more efficient for AI? What if they do something like that? What's the value then? Is it 50 billion? Because if it's 50 billion, then it's 4,400 per coin. If it goes up higher to 100 billion, we're talking about $8,000 or $9,000 per BitTensor. And that's 100 billion. And by the way, that doesn't even put it in the top 5. So I really, guys, look, I really think that BitTensor is going to be something special here. The more I find out about it, the more I look into it, the deeper I dive, the more bullish I get on the absolute everything involving BitTensor. The one thing that I would say structurally is I think it can do a better job of onboarding and offboarding people. I think that it can do a better job. My BitTensor wallet is the official wallet of BitTensor. It's not that good. Like I said, like I click on it and it rotates and it does this, but I actually have more BitTensor than what this shows. You know what I mean? Now, when I go back here to history, here's my sent, here's my received, here's my add, here's my remove. No data. I'm receiving it, but I have no idea why it's not working. So I'm not a fan of this wallet, which means that I need to use like a trust wallet or something like that, but I use the BitTensor. Okay. So I'm using the BitTensor for now. And the thing about it is, it's got to be better. It's got to be better. And some of that has to do with the adoption of the BitTensor chain, supported by things like MetaMask, supported by things like Phantom. You know, they're going to have to work on that and get a little bit more mass adoption out of the way. And then it'll be better overall, in my opinion. So, you know, maybe we'll see something happen there. You know, I can't get the side of this thing to work right at all anymore. Like, I have no idea what I did. I don't know what I did to my lighting over the last couple of days, but I have absolutely screwed this entire studio up. I can't get it fixed just right the way I want. Actually, I think I just fixed. God damn it. Anyway, so top 10 right there. Bull market indicators. No bull market indicators have been hit. Now, listen, the dum-dums who are telling you the bull market is over are telling you the bull market is over as M2 money supply continues to go up and no bull market peak indicators are being hit. How stupid? That's stupid. That's how dumb these people are. Also, subscribe to the channel, become a member. It's $4.99 a month. It certainly helps me out if you become a member. the dev protocol. Nothing going on over here, but there is stuff going on over here. Now, I want to point this out. I'm going to show it to you. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show it to you or not, but my goddamn show, I can do whatever the fuck I want, right? So it's going to close that. And I'm going to show you exactly what happened over here, okay? Ted Pillows, you guys might know him. He's this lesbian fellow right here. Ted Pillows says, Bitcoin is digital gold. Ethereum is digital oil. Which token is the digital NASDAQ? So then Solve Maxwell, which is, by the way, as you go down here, his comment, which was here, is no longer here. Okay. I'm going to point that out. His comment, which was here, is no longer here. Okay. But let me show you what it was. He responds, what if I told you there was actually an answer to this? Okay. Now, what does that mean to you? That means that he's bull posting something, like he's bull posting here about what's going on. So now we have to figure out, who is Solve Maxwell? Why would there be a Solve Maxwell? And why is he bullish? And what exactly is going on over here? And who is this kitty cat, Solve Maxwell? Who is this kitty cat, right? Well, then you take a gander over at the, for those of you that don't know, this is the list of people at dev.e.com. This is dev.com. Austin Ramp, Sean Pierce, Solve Maxwell is an advisor. Let's try that one more time. What just happened here? Solve Maxwell, the guy who is an advisor to Dev, goes in and posts on Ted Pillow's account, what is the digital NASDAQ? What if it's already done? Do you guys see yet what's going on here? And if you don't, that's okay. But it's right here. What if I told you there was actually an answer to this, and he is the developer over on Dev? He is an advisor for Dev. This is crazy, guys. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't confident before that it's NASDAQ, I'm pretty confident now that it's NASDAQ. And by the way, the fact that that tweet is now gone means that he got ahead of himself. And they were like, dude, you can't do that. And he's like, oh, my bad. And then he took it down. But there it was. Also, Muskrat King says, I thought DTCC was going XLM. They could be. The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, DTCC, well, XLM, let's do that. DTC has integrated the Stellar network into its digital asset infrastructure through its acquisition of the tokenization firm Securrency. So they're already in line, but that's not NASDAQ, okay? DTCC was another billion-dollar holding company that is involved, but they are not NASDAQ, okay? Now, that's a good narrative for XLM, but has nothing to do with Dev. So synthetics down 15% today, fetch down 12% today, Tau up 6% today. There's only a few of them that are pumping today in the top 100. One of them is still Tau, continuing its surge. Bitcoin 38. So if you want to accumulate one more time, Maddie, if you didn't listen, if you didn't pay attention, if you didn't study the lesson plan, then yeah, you can go ahead and buy today. You're not going to get as good a result as somebody who actually listened 3 days ago and bought that dip super hard. You're not going to get that. But when it goes back up to 70, we're going to sell again. Simple. Science, bruh. Science, bruh. Also, for this is going to hurt, by the way. 326 million came out last night. Now, by the way, IBIT was inflows. Everybody else was outflows. Ethereum, however, is going to be catastrophic, by the way. $429 million in outflows in a single day after the enormous inflows that we've been having on the Ethereum one. This was just a dagger to the heart. This was a dagger to the heart. Will it stay this way? Of course not. But again, with that much, with so much happening right here, and our trade volume, by the way, up to $435 billion per day, then it stands to reason you're going to have some of these days. And remember, what we're discovering now is these ETFs, they kind of go after the fact. They don't move at the very beginning. You know what I mean? Right, but they won't. They're not under contract. God damn it. They're not using XLM, okay? I already know who they're using. And I already said who they're using. Holy shit. And DTCC, by the way, is a different company. It is not NASDAQ. So for right now, NASDAQ does not have a blockchain provider at this point. Or at least it's not going to launch until June of 2026. So there's a reason for that. And listen, if something else happens along the way and DTCC is the announcement partner for some reason, instead of NASDAQ for NASDAQ or something like that, that's going to be even more bullish. So it's going to be okay. By the way, it's not going to be okay for those of you that don't hold any dev. Okay. For those of you that don't hold any dev and you were like, I'm going to buy the thing that has a billion market cap already because that's the one that's going to go up the most. I can't fix you. You're already broken. I mean, fuck am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? You're already broken inside. You've already screwed everything up. So we'll see what happens. By the way, I'm right. I know why I'm right, but I can't tell you why I know why I'm right. By the way, I'm not on the team. I don't really have any obligation to them or anything like that. I could tell you exactly what I know and why I know, and I could do all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's irresponsible, and I'm not going to do that. So, but I'm going to tell you, it's NASDAQ. I'm going to tell you, it's awesome. I'm going to tell you, it's going to run to $50 per token. It's going to go absolutely crazy. Now, we're going to stop. We're not going to cover price points on all the meme coins and everything today. We're going to say this: Mantra up 13%, XVM Volt up 7.5%, Dev down 3%, Bonk down 3%. Mute, the market is kind of bleeding a little bit. We're down on the day, down to Meme Link, which is now down 23%, down to 600,000 market cap. Right Wing 27,000 market cap. X Seller down to 13.5. Market cap. API 3 down to 9 million, down 9%. TARS AI down 8%. Fias down 7%. Blocky down 7%. Everything down just a little bit. Remember, a lot of this has to do with the pairings on some of these cryptos. And when you look at the pairing, they're not favorable because you've got Solana, which was holding up pretty well, dipping back down 6%. BNB down 9% on the day. Ethereum down 6% on the day. You're seeing that. That's the pull down from the big party pairing. So, and by the way, OM had a significant recovery underway, ripped all the way back up and started to liquidate the people, the bitches, the sellers, the people who were going to be, little bitch ass tricks. So you got in here and you liquidated those guys. Now you're consolidating a little higher to the range, which means that the next time you get a surge, in the event that you get a big surge of the same level as the surge that you just got, if your consolidation is right in this range right here, then guess what? That's going to take you up almost to that next level at 20 cents. So basically what I'm saying is we're going to about 20 cents right there. By the way, that should be, from where it is right now. Okay, 20 cents. So you're probably looking at a move back up into that 20-cent range. I don't know for sure. May not. I'm guessing, but OM looks like it's ready for a big move. Again, this market does have to clean out. You still think this year for announcing the only thing that I can go on is what they say and what they do with their roadmap and all of that kind of shit. So, yes, I mean, I don't mean to be facetious about it. I don't mean to be, why would I? If this is what they say, we have to take them at their word until they start screwing us over. And I know what you might be saying. Well, what about the public shard? Well, fair enough, but I think the public shard is a development piece, and I don't think that their launch of an exchange is as complicated as creating a public shard, to be fair. Like, I think that really it's just paperwork because they've already created everything. They've already done everything. Everything's already in place for Dev to get a gigantic move. Everything's already in place except for the licensing. And the public shard was just a piece of what they were doing. They wanted to make it available for you so that you guys could start building on it. So you can still build right now on the test net because the test net has launched. So we'll see what happens right there. And OM needs to go a lot higher for me. Me too. Like, I think that Mantra is currently really, really, really undervalued. I would really like to see a surge into that 40-cent range. The reason that I would like to see that is because that would be that magic move that reminds everybody who they are. You know what I mean? And by the way, there is a spot right there. You can see it on the left over here. This is the volume node, like right there at 40 cents, which is where that big rejection right there came from. That's what we need to see. We need to see another test of that range to get those sellers out of the market. And then take another big wick into this 20-cent range to get those sellers out of the market too. So I think that there could be a massive move in store, but we have to see it actually play out first. What I'm encouraged by is that we're right here at the 50 MA on the 4 hour, which is a decent enough indicator. We get a break above that. Then it starts to curl. And then you start to see that move right there. Then you see that golden cross. And then that's where you get moved like to 40 cents or something like that. But that's a little bit in the future. Don't know for sure whether that's going to happen or not. But I do think that we're going to get a huge move on Mantra coming up very soon. Now, the one thing that I do want to continue to stress here is there is a difficulty right now with Mantra, and that is scattered liquidity. So that's why a lot of the liquidity is being moved on chain from currently being like, it's paired out with Bitcoin, it's paired out with Ethereum, it's paired out on different chains. They're going to be moving away from those, and they're going to be pulling the liquidity back into the Mantra chain because that's where the whales are able to better trade. And that's going to mean better health for the project overall. And that better health for the project overall means better pump for the project overall. So I'm going to hold on to Mantra. I'm going to hold on to BitTensor. I'm going to hold on to a couple of these for this next big move. Okay. They're still working on what they call comeback season. I'm not going to doubt them because nothing went wrong with the chain. It was all one stupid investor who got liquidated like a dum-dum. I wonder if it was James Wynn, by the way. That would have been hilarious, by the way. Like it would have been hilarious if it was James Wynn and he lost $36 million like that. Anyway, I'm going to cut the show short just a little bit today, about 15 minutes. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way. Biggest thing you can do to help me out is if you want to talk about a specific crypto, a super chat. If you want to become a member of the channel, it's $4.99 a month. That's how you help me out the most. Okay. And that's it. It's not financial advice. I'm always right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
They call me please, I'll do anything.